Shalom, family. So I pray everyone is doing well. Welcome back to another Faithful Friday Sabbath class. And we're going to continue with our reading of the book of the Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 6. And we're going to continue and pick things up at verse 22, okay? The book of the Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 6, and verse 22. And it reads, "As for wisdom, what she is, and how she came up, I will tell you, and will not hide mysteries from you, but will seek her out from the beginning of her nativity, and bring the knowledge of her into light. It will not pass over the truth." So we want to make sure that we understand the mysteries of wisdom, because wisdom is not always cookie cutter. Wisdom is case by case. Well, may be wise in one situation, may not be wise in another situation. Excuse me. Or maybe wise in one situation, may not be wise in another situation. So it's case by case. And wisdom, according to Most High in His Word, is likened many times into a feminine aspect. Why? Because one is teaching us that wisdom is something similar to, like a mother, it should be something that nurtures you. That should be the key thing that is nurturing you. It should be wisdom, not foolishness. So that should be, nourishing you. Another is similar to, as a wife would be a helpmeet unto a man. So wisdom should be that help and aid unto you. It should go hand in hand with you. It should be there to aid you in everything it is that you're doing. You're going to have to utilize some type of wisdom, more times than not, to be an aid to you. So that's a big reason why, when you're understanding these things. And it's also likened to him because it's also, a woman is something that a man joins himself unto and becomes one with. So wisdom is something you're also supposed to join yourself unto and become one with. So that's more so why the Most High utilizes wisdom as in the feminine, to get us to understand, that aspect in the spirit. So let's continue. Verse 23. "Neither will I go with consuming envy, for such a man shall have no fellowship with wisdom." So let you know that's a spirit. If you're overcome with the spirit of consuming envy, that means you have a very envious spirit. It's not just a little, it's strong. So, and you're in a space, and we're understanding, if we get the definition of envy. So, envy, it says a feeling of discontent. That's one, if you have strong feelings of discontent, or covetousness with regard to another's advantages, success, or possessions. You don't want to be in that type of spirit. You don't want to have a strong spirit of discontent for the success someone else is having or the things they're able to get or achieve. Need to be a pay raise, a new job, a new car, marriage, child. You don't want to or anything else outside of those that I didn't mention. You don't want to have strong feelings of discontent toward that what that person is able to achieve. So, as it says, even an object of such feeling, to regard a person or thing with envy. She envies you for your success. So that's what you have. And it's in a space that can go in terms like we read, also along with covetousness, okay? I want what they have, and I'm like, man, I'm not, instead of being happy for them having those things, nah, you got that, you think you special, you think got it going on, and you have all these negative feelings. We're not supposed to be like that. We're supposed to be in a space where we want the upliftment of one another. We want a situation where, yeah, I'm happy if you have a better job, because that means with the better job, your income increases, and with your income increases, you can better provide for your family, and better sustain your family, and it should help you to be able to move with more solidarity, and focus of your mind, because there's more peace there because I'm able to be in a better financial circumstance. So I'm a little more comfortable, or at least not as poor as what, I would be if I did not have that job or that pay increase. And furthermore, if it's doing very well, it should also, that job should be a blessing not only to you but also to those around you, because you're able to help more people. I have this. Now that I have this much, I can give this little bit to help someone else. So, and give more towards alms to the benefit of the ministry and helping more of my people. And also, man, those times when someone else, they may need groceries, they may need food, they even need a couple $100 to put towards, their rent, mortgage. If I'm in a place and position where I can do that, then I'll do it accordingly. But of course, according to my own power. Okay, I don't have to be a millionaire to help other people. I just give whatever little extra I have to, hey, if all it is a few extra dollars, I put in the pot. And collectively, we can do a lot more to help more people just with that. Okay? So let's continue. And let's read verse 23 again. Neither will I go with consuming envy. So wisdom will not maintain or sustain itself in a vessel that is consumed with envy, because now something else is filling up your temple, an unclean spirit that is pushing more and more of that Holy Spirit outside of your vessel. Okay? And it says, for such a man shall have no fellowship with wisdom. Okay? And it's balance there too, or catch 22. Not only is it a spiritual thing, that spirit won't remain in your vessel, but also you shouldn't be one who continues to cleave and associate yourself strongly with someone who has that spirit. And you'll know based on the conversations that you have with that individual and the things that person is always talking about, you'll start to be able to gauge whether or not this person is envious and whether or not they're starting to consume themselves with that envy. That, and I can't always be talking about what this person got and what they got going on or their achievements. It'd be happy for them, So, hey, I'm happy if they're doing well. At the end of the day, they still keep the law being righteous, so it's fine by me. So, it shouldn't be a problem. Verse 24. But the multitude of the wise is the welfare of the world, and a wise king is the upholding of the people. So now listen to this. I'll read one more time. But the multitude of the wise is the welfare of the world. So why is that? When you have wisdom, especially when you have people that have some wisdom, their mindset is more so focused on the well-being of others, more so than themselves. So they're trying to see how they can, and even the things that they are focused on themselves, it's not as much as just solely me, but usually it's going to be my family. And how can we be better and do better? How can we put each other in better places to be able to get ahead? Because we can get ahead and be more successful, that we won't be as stressed or as in deep of a situation or dire straits with always trying to pinch pennies and put things together. We can't always afford to do the things we need to do. So we can try to put our heads together to find out solutions that can be more sustainable for us and our families. So that's because the welfare, the well-being of one, do you have, and that's a big part, but even just that welfare is making sure the necessities, food, water, clothing, shelter, do we have that? How can we work to sustain and make sure that, hey, I have that, my family has that? What about those that are friends and family extended that are also in the path of righteousness, that I'm trying to make sure that they're in a better space, and making sure also too we can combine our efforts to put more into the ministry, because you have to understand, like the scriptures deal with, money answers all things, and money is oftentimes the key resource that's needed to acquire the other thing that you need to forward whatever endeavor you're trying to take care of. You need money to do it. So these are the things that someone with wisdom, they're going to think about, like, man, this is what their mind is occupied on.
their mind, the multitude of the wise, of all those that have wisdom, when you're looking at the majority, the mass majority of people that have wisdom, they're focused on welfare, food, raiment, clothing, shelter. How can we better provide for ourselves and our family? You're looking to try to build and make moves that can help sustain you. That's what the focus of the mindset is. And now continuing with that, so this is the multitude of the wise is the welfare of the world, and that world being the primarily when you read the scriptures, oftentimes when it's referencing world, is referencing Israel, the people of the Most High. That world is oftentimes the world that's being referenced in context like that, because that's the focus. How can I help my people be better and do better? So how can I help my people be better and do better? That's a big part of it, and that can look like a number of different things, number of different mindsets. Big part is like, man, how can I put myself in a position to where I can acquire a job that can help me get income that I can use to then start a business that I can be more self-sufficient and not at the beck and call of a corporation that does not have righteousness at its forefront. I need to try to put money aside and start some type of business to be able to better focus on righteousness and at least be able to swing how I need to operate, so I can make sure I'm not in jeopardy of possibly defiling myself or breaking any of these laws, statutes, and commandments that can have me in a bad place with the Most High, possibly even get put to death by the Most High, or in a space where I'm being a hypocrite and I'm not moving in wisdom through the people that are also trying to keep righteousness, that see, hey, he looks like the scripture said to do this, and look like he's doing something contrary. You don't want that. So now the other side of it, somewhat why they're also thinking like, man, how can I put it to where I can do that, especially if they're devoted to righteousness. They're thinking, how can I put myself in a place to where I can devote more of my time to doing things of the ministry? Need it be, I need to be the best. If you're a leader, then I need to be the best teacher in of these scriptures that I need to be if I'm called to be a bishop or an apostle in that regard. So I need to be able to study, read. I need to be able to put together lessons, PowerPoints, things of that nature, and to be able to better focus on that. So that's what they're gonna see. So how can I invest my time and energy to free up more time for myself? And sometimes that may even be taking a pay cut or a downgrade of lifestyle, so that, hey, instead of me having to work this, I can work this job. This is a good part-time job, so that way I don't have to devote as many of my hours outside of the ministry. So, or I change my lifestyle. Depending on my situation, I may be able, man, if I get this money, I might have to work full-time to set this aside for a while. But if I get this trailer, it need to be a trailer home or RV, then, man, I can do this, and I don't have to work as hard. I can cut back, after that. You get different, but that's what your mind is occupied on. Your mind is occupied on, man, how can I figure it out? And you're trying to look for others that also have that level of wisdom and care and welfare, that, hey, how can we put our heads together to try to build something better together for ourselves and for our families and for our loved ones and for the sake of the ministry? It's a lifestyle, and it's not just in the moment. This is something I'm thinking about on a day-by-day, week-by-week basis. But it's not something, all right, I might spend like once a month or once a couple of months on it. Now I'm thinking about it constantly. How can I, the welfare of, my people? So now, and also, that welfare of the world, you're also thinking about just all the struggles of the world, everything it is that we go through, like, man, and just how to overcome. You have that as well. So now reading the latter end of it in verse 24, and a wise king is the upholding of the people. So mind you, there's a colon there. So it's still continuing what we were dealing with at first. And it's saying it's still like with the leader, the same thing, which oftentimes those that have wisdom are usually going to be in elevated places of leadership, deacon, bishop, apostle, or as some may have, captain, and or some may call themselves priest or high priest. You have that, but nevertheless, there's those who are in positions of leadership. Okay, and as it says, in dealing with a wise leader is going to be in a space where they're trying to do things to uphold the people. How? Well, you're trying to think about all the needs of the people: physical, spiritual, mental, emotional. You're trying to think, dang, what's everything needed? Because to uphold, I'm trying to support you. So upholding is the support of the people. What support? What things do the people need to make sure that they're okay? So, and oftentimes they're in a space where I cannot always focus my attention at everybody at large. It's like casting starfish, and if you've never heard the story of casting starfish, I'll enlighten you with this, tale or with this proverb. So there was a young man walking on a beach, and he was casting starfish in. An older gentleman walks by, and asks him, hey, what are you doing? I'm casting the starfish back in the ocean. They've washed up on the shore, and so I want to save them, so I throw them back in the ocean. The older man look up and down and said, man, it's a gang of starfish out here, right? You can't possibly cast them all into the ocean. You don't think you could do that as one man, do you? He said, nah, no, I can't. The young man replied, nah, no, I can't, cast all of them in, and I can't help all of them, but I know I can help these few, and it's understanding you can't help everybody. So there's always going to be a consolidation of efforts. I can't go around trying to help and put food on everybody's table, but I can make sure first and foremost I have food on my table and my family. That's what the scriptures make sure you sustain yourself first. So, because the scriptures deal with don't help out others above your power. It could be noble making sure, man, I go without and I make sure everybody has. That's noble, but don't be foolish, to where now you in a hole that you can't provide to sustain the things you need because you're giving everything out to everybody else. So, and everyone isn't even worthy of help. So even the scriptures, let it be known at time, you read go probably let it be known that, hey, there were many, and I think one time was even with Righteous Stephen. I think he was one of the ones that may have said it. But there were many widows in the time of I believe Elijah the prophet, or it may have been if it wasn't Elijah, we'll just go with Elijah at this time, or it could have been Elisha. So I think, yeah, it could have been Elisha. So don't quote me on it, but one of them that starts with an E. Nevertheless, he said, hey, there were many widows during the time of Elijah the prophet, but all of them didn't receive aid. All of them didn't receive help, because the Most High told them, hey, there'll be a widow, there, go help that one, and she was on her last. She had her last, but through the prophet, he extended it. He said, hey, give me some of that, what you got. I know it's your last, but the Most High going to extend your little last. It's going to last and fill you up, and he blessed her in that circumstance. But it's like, even at times when people need help, the Most High doesn't even help out everybody that need help, because everybody ain't worthy. Some people stuck in them positions because you need to repent. You need to get right. So you do have to understand where certain people may be at in their level of repentance, because what they can be going through is judgment. So, and that's why others may be much more hesitant and reluctant to help those outside of a congregation or body, especially their own, because, being mindful of is how mindful this person of the Most High before I lend that help. So, and then furthermore, even for people within, there can still be some of that there as well, and making sure, because even the scriptures deal with that, and making sure I'm not aiding someone in their wickedness and their sin through, the help I may be providing. So just keeping those things in mind. But And sure, you're always gonna, especially as a leader, you're always thinking about the support and welfare of the people. What do they need? Am I providing for their emotional needs? Am I there, to make sure that, okay, I understand this brother, this sister is depressed. Let me be a word of either wisdom, depending on the situation. But first, let me find out what the situation is. And then, sometimes it's not being necessarily always a word of wisdom. Sometimes it's just that admonishment, exhortation, give them those words that they may need to hear. Sometimes those words can be, sometimes it can be reproving. Other times it can just be a situation where just being someone there to comfort them and give them reassuring words. Sometimes those reassuring words can go a long ways to aiding them to being able to pick themselves up in the spirit. Other times it could be a situation where just being creating a safe space to be able for them to discuss what's on their mind and what's on their spirit in a place to where you're not looking at every moment to overly criticize or reprimand for everything it is they may say, but just offering a safe space where, hey, no, I'm here for you. I care about the things, the affairs in your life, and what I can possibly do to help you, through those things. So, it's there, but you got to be an emotional support at times, even if that's not really your forte, because it's not, hey, this is something that I really want to do. This is something that they really need. This person is going through, and I need to be this for them at this time. So it's being aware of that. It's also, at times being some of that physical help. That physical help is sometimes that, hey, they need groceries. I can help you out, this week or next week for groceries. I can either go buy them for you, or I can give you, $100 to help lighten your load to get what you need, or $200 accordingly. May be able to do that. Sometimes it's being able to do that, or pulling together with other leaders and say, hey, can we all come together and we all put in $5, $25, so that way we can help support this family or these individuals. So we want to be able to do that too. That's also part of the care and concern as leaders, because that's also what a king will do. A king is the, as they say, ruler of the castle or the kingdom, but it's not just to sit up on a throne and say, hey, you're on my subject, do what I say. But no, it's also like, okay, I have to lead and guide the people. That's really what a good king is. They've made it a spectacle for a king to be sitting up as pompous and big beer belly and pass me more wine. Dance a jig for me, sing a tune, and make it more of just this gluttonous and greedy lifestyle. But a king is really sitting up here in a place where I'm sitting my iron throne and listening to the needs of the people and saying, okay, well, this is how we need to do this. And who's next? All right, send the advisors. What will we do with, the people in this city? And okay, with the people in this city, we'll give them aid here and help them with this, dealing with the affairs of the people, through wisdom and with counsel and with counselors. So to try to do things in the best interest of the people. And with that heavy burden, there can come perks, and various perks, because I'm doing that, and it's not just doing my job, I'm doing my job well, so that's the way it should be. So, and even now with leaders, it should be, okay, yeah, they receive certain perks from the people and the Most High, because their focus is the betterment of the people. And there's honor with leaders who do that and do that well, in sincerity and in truth. So, and not looking to make a profit off of the people. That's what you don't want. You don't want leaders that they're always trying to make a profit off of everything. But there's like, man, oftentimes I'm just lending my time, my energy, and my finances for free, knowing of the Most High, I have received them, and of the Most High, I'll receive them again, as long as I'm being righteous and sincere. So keeping those things in mind. Verse 25, Receive therefore instruction through my words, and it shall do you good. And a key part to make those things possible is, like I said, if that's the case, then make sure you're receiving the instruction of these scriptures, the instruction of these words, which will help you to do so. It's part of, literally, we're receiving that instruction as we're doing these things now in this very moment through these teachings, and showing the people how to build and how to be more successful with building and what that, can or should look like. So now let's continue with Wisdom of Solomon chapter 7. Wisdom of Solomon chapter 7 and verse 1. It says, I myself also am a mortal man, like to all, and the offspring of him that was first made of the earth. So understanding as a leader, because, this is King Solomon speaking, let you know that, man, I'm a man just like you. I'm human just like you. You cut me, I bleed just like you. You hit me, yeah, I puff up just like you. It's like, man, you burn me, yeah, I'm gonna get scarred up and I'm gonna be in pain just like you. So understanding, contrary to popular belief, your leaders are still human, no matter how much of an aura, a front, or appearance that may be given as if they're superhuman, Iron Man, Superman. They're still human. They're still subject to all the same thing that you're subject to. They're just in a space where they know, I have to manage these things because the people rely on me to do so. They look to my counsel. They look to my words. They look to my countenance, my demeanor, how I carry myself. I can't be in here. All right, y'all. Let's just read some. What y'all want to learn? I can't be in here to where I'm giving a vibe where it's like I'm always depressed, always sad. But then I can't be on the opposite end of the spectrum either. I can't be in a space where it seems like I'm always frustrated or always upset or always ready to yell on somebody. Either one is bad. I have to find the balance in the middle between them to make sure I uphold as best as possible. And yeah, as leaders, you're going to go through things, even more so at times than the people, because you got to lead the people. It ain't a situation because leader, you get the easiest walk, you get the hardest walk, because you got to pave the way for them to follow. So you have to go through things and struggles just so that you understand and can relate to the people and say, I've been there. I've gone through those things. So when the people have those struggles, you already know. You already know. And then the people not only feel that much more relatable, but usually you're in a place where, okay, you've gone through it and you were able to overcome those things. So you can help pass on that knowledge, wisdom, and understanding that, hey, this is what I did to overcome these scenarios and situations to be the person that you see in front of you today. So in that way, the people can wax strong, even as Paul said, waxing strong from my bonds. So because I'm a servant, of Christ. I'm a slave to the ministry. This is what it is. I gotta hold on to and I'm stuck doing until kingdom come. And this is my focus. So this is what I'm attached to, and that is going to help with the resolve of the people to follow suit, because they're gonna, as like the scriptures say and we'll read, man, as the leader of the people. So that's a big part. And of course, we know the offspring of him that was first made of the earth is dealing with Adam. So now verse 2, and in my mother's womb was fashioned to be flesh in the time of 10 months, being compacted in blood of the seed of man, in the pleasure that came with sleep. So of course, understanding, he's saying the same thing, given in terms of how life is formed, that, hey, I'm I was fashioned in the womb just like you. Just, man, I was made within the womb of a woman. So fashion, being compacted in blood, meaning all of those blood cells and coming together on a molecular level and just coming together to form life, to form me, and also as it formed others. So being in that time of, generally approximately 10 months, give or take. So being, of course, compacted blood of the seed of man. So the same thing, there was seed, as we know today, sperm that comes out of a man that, hey, helped make that possible. So that planted that seed, no different than you plant a seed in the dirt so that life can come forth, because that seed representing, like as a man would give, and that earth representing that womb of a woman. Okay, so if you're saying, like they say, Mother Earth, that isn't necessarily something that's misplaced. That is very much so true. That's how the Most High created. He used the womb of the earth to bring forth everything that he would create. So the Most High doesn't identify himself as the earth, or as nature. He moves through it, and he moves through all things and uses it as a tool and resource to bring forth life. So now, verse 3. And when I was born, I drew in the common air and fell upon the earth. So, of course, same thing. He said, like, man, when I was born, I breathed my first breath and drew in air. And I also, I wasn't able to walk. So, at the time, I had to move upon the earth. So, which is of like nature. And the first voice which I uttered was crying, as all others do. He's saying, hey, the first voice I uttered, hey, I wasn't coming out the womb speaking, and I didn't come out the womb as much as, because Wisdom Solomon, he had a lot, was, hey, you may see me now. It doesn't mean I came out of the womb. Yes, mother. Yes, father. May I have some milk, please? He didn't come out the womb like that. He didn't come, hey, y'all, welcome. I see the world. I just left the father. I'm here with y'all now. It was a situation where, he came out, just like all others do. So as with everyone else, because these things also get an understanding that, hey, this is how everyone comes into the world. No one came in differently. So verse 4, I was nursed in swaddling clothes, and that with care. So the same thing. He was swaddled in those clothes. Help keep them, baby like to be snugged up. So he was nursed with swaddling clothes, and that with cares, meaning there was care and concern with how he was to be raised. There was care there. There was nurture. He wasn't just growing up wild. There was nurture. There was care and concern with his well-being. That's important. That was there. So, verse 5. For there is no king that had any other beginning of birth. So there's no one else that has come upon the face of this earth that has had any other beginning of their birth in terms of these common things. That this is the order. This is the natural order of life. Let's continue. Verse 6. For all men have one entrance into life, and the light going out. So meaning it's the same thing. Everyone, as they say, as you surely live, you shall surely die. That this is the order of balance or give and take of life. So, verse 7. Wherefore I prayed, and understanding was given me. So now, because people are saying, well, dang, well, how'd you get to where you are now? How'd you obtain this level of wisdom, knowledge, and understanding? He lets you know, man, I prayed. I sought out the Most High first. That was my focus. And understanding was given me. And the understanding of things was something that the Most High allowed me to receive of that spirit. So then that way, as I studied and applied myself, it would cause me to grow at a steady rate and faster pace. So I called upon God, and the spirit of wisdom came to me. So he called upon the Most High, and that spirit of wisdom came, which is a spirit that grows within you. So it ain't just, boom, I got it, bam. The universe is open to me. You know, it ain't like the stars flying past my eyes and I'm just receiving all the knowledge of the ancients. That's not the way it goes. That ain't it. The Most High makes it easy for me to obtain that information. He makes it easier for me to be able to obtain it and retain that knowledge within me, and to be able to make sense of the things that I'm seeking out. That's a big part of it. But it's, of course, seeking the Most High for those things first and foremost. He wasn't in a space to where, okay, let me go play with some Kabbalah, or you know, play with some tarot cards. Let me, you know, find some way to try to, you know, put some two and two together playing. I don't know. You know, he ain't doing that. So, verse 8, I preferred her before scepters and thrones, and esteemed riches nothing in comparison of her. So meaning he was in a space where his preference was to wisdom even before rulership. That, man, if I don't have nothing else, let me have some wisdom. You know, even before all, you know, because the scepters and thrones, everything that comes with rulership in the kingdom. He said, man, I wasn't even at the thing I preferred above this. You know, that's nice, but this is better. So even when it came, you know, down to it in terms of riches, like, man, you know, because a lot of times people, their mindset is more so focused on, in this generation, getting the bag. Let me just get the bag. Well, here's the thing. If you don't increase your wisdom, you can get the bag, but then fumble it because you don't know what to do with it. You haven't been taught. You haven't been trained. You haven't been groomed. Or you haven't applied yourself in a way to where, okay, I got the bag, now what? Vacation. Oh, let me just buy a house, or let me just buy land. And it's not that any of these things that you can't do with the bag, but it's understanding, should I do this? And not only in general, but when should I execute? Should I do it now? Should I wait a month? 6 months? A year? 3 years? 5 years? So either way it goes, there's still a situation where you're not in a position where you can just do things any kind of way. It has to be planned, organized, and thought out. So and then you can execute. Because even if you do, I need a new car because my last car got totaled, or, you know, now I work at y'all, I got to drive here. So it doesn't mean let me buy the car now. First off, yeah, you may have got the new job, but you want to make it through at least your probationary period, lest you buy the car now and then guess what? You don't make it through probation and lose the job. Are you still going to be able to continue to pay for that lease or the financing of that car? So, I didn't think about that. Well, those are things you have to consider. And this is why you have to seek out those with wisdom, or if not, talk to someone who specializes in that, like a financial advisor or counselor, who can give you more of those things that you need directly for that area of your life. They may not know all these other areas, but hey, they study to at least be knowledgeable on this. So they specialize in this. But someone with wisdom in general, even if they don't specialize in that, they can just generally guide you with general wisdom that, hey, look, this is what makes more sense. So get these things established and then do this once you take care of this. And then that way you'll be able to continue in that, unless you do that now and then these things don't come through. Got to weigh it in the balance. So now, excuse me. Right. So now it says, I preferred her before scepters and thrones, and esteemed riches nothing in comparison of her. So riches, you know, we think earthly riches, I get some money, some gold, but it's nothing in comparison to wisdom. Because just as much as you can get that money, and as fast as you can get it, is as fast that money can disappear into thin air. On one way or another, need to be because of the things you spent it on, or things happen in life that cause you to lose it. So need to be emergencies, So situations outside of your control, you didn't know was going to happen, that it happened, need to be something medical or vehicular or just home related. Now I got to come out of these bags, and the bags got spent. A lot of it got spent, or just in situations where you can get robbed. So need to be physical theft, someone, stick you up and take what it is you have, or digitally, someone hacks your accounts, your information, or you may be seduced or deceived into giving up information to a party you thought was legitimate. Need to be a legitimate individual or legitimate organization, and it was not. So, and you lost money. Or even through you had the bag, tried to make some investments, but the investments were not good. They were bad investments, or the investments seemed good, but then went bad. So I had the bag, but then lost it. So now what? Well, with wisdom, if I have wisdom, I stand a better chance of being able to bounce back and still being able to sustain and take care of myself. So, because usually with wisdom, you learn not to put all your eggs in one basket. Put an egg there, put a few here. All right, and put one there. All right, now go out. That should generally help keep me in a better space. So in that way, I can see what becomes of all these things. Just in wisdom, I'm trying to, put things in a better place to be more successful, or so that way, if one thing fails, I still have another. So that's wisdom. So now, reading on, verse 9. Neither compared I unto her any precious stone, because all gold in respect of her is as a little sand, and silver shall be counted as clay before her. So, and this is something many of us, we haven't learned, because we've been taught money. Even if you can't just get the dollar bill, because that may depreciate over time due to inflation and other political things, get the gold, the silver, the diamonds, rubies. That'll last longer. But you're not nearly hearing as much from people saying, get wisdom. Increase not only your knowledge, but your understanding of that knowledge. Because knowledge is just information. But you have to get the understanding of that information to know how it's conveyed or what it means. And then wisdom to know when I should apply this and when I should not apply this. Understand, okay, now's the time I should do this. And now's the time I should refrain from doing that, or not yet. So, yeah, but not yet. So because if I do that now, it'll mess these things up. But if I wait until this period, then okay, yeah, it'll be good. So, and then having the discipline to follow through. Like, and that's part of wisdom too. Okay, I gotta regulate myself better. I need to change my program up. Those things you have to keep in mind. So now, and that's still understanding, like, man, wisdom is the thing you want to chase more than the bag. That's what the scriptures are teaching you. And it takes a mind that recognizes wisdom to be able to truly understand that, and someone who isn't all just the bag to really, dang, all right, now I'm starting to see. Because how many times do you see people, as they say, your average Joes, that get millions of dollars, win the lottery, or come into an inheritance? They or even $100,000. They come into an inheritance, or they have businesses or things passed down, but then they lose it. They squander it. You make movies on it, like one of those anime was Sing. You squander, and your parents could have worked hard so that you could have, but then that next generation, they squander it because they don't know what to do with it, because they were never taught. It's not just enough just to pass the bag to your kids. It's like, no, let me show you what all is in the bag and how to use it and what you can use it for, what things you should prioritize before these other things, to know how to utilize it. So then you'll continue to be successful, not momentary success, not just, yeah, I used to have,
these things, but, I used to have these 3 houses, but, I used to have these 3 cars, but I used to have, just, what is it that, no, I maintain these things, and these things I pass down, to the next. So those are all things you want to consider and think about. So now, reading on, verse 10, I loved her above health and beauty, and chose to have her instead of light. So for the light that cometh from her never goeth out. So now what is this saying? We have to even perceive these words with the right spirit of understanding. When it says I loved her above health and beauty, that means he just sacrificed his health and didn't care about himself. That's not what it's saying. It's saying just like in this day and age, think about this day and age, you have people that overly obsess with health and beauty. They go to the limit of things concerning health and or beauty. Need it be, I'm trying to get this big old physique. I'm trying to work out. I watch my macros and micros and escrows and all the O's and but I'm trying to make sure that I get my diet down to a science to make sure I get all the protein. I got to make sure I get my 50 grams a day. I got to make sure and all these things you're watching carefully. And you're so pinpoint focused on that to be at the top of your game in that so that I can be at peak performance. I learn what exercise to do, how many reps, how many sets to maximize my muscular strength or my muscular growth. I'm focused on being a power lifter, strongman, a bodybuilder, CrossFitter, anywhere in between. I'm learning these things down to a science to get to my A game. Or someone in beauty. I'm trying to learn all the beauty products. What lipstick? Ooh, that one, nope. That one's too sticky. Don't put that one in your lips. Ooh, that one, it gets a little too glossy. You don't want that. You see, this one is perfect, right balance. You learning which one. You learning which mascara to put on. Which one can cause too much residue. Which one you can sweat off. And which one really last. Which one, you're learning all those different things. You're learning, how to apply, all your creams and so on and so forth. You're learning all these things and you're looking to master them. You're looking to get all the ins and outs to not just, okay, yeah, I just kind of do it. Nah, I live there. I do it. I can tell you that's good right there. Yeah, they probably got this brand, or they probably got that. I get it down to a science. That's what it's dealing with. I love her above health and beauty, even above before my focus was on these things. A lot of times that'd be people, all right, here's my focus. This is it. I said, nah, my focus was wisdom. Why? People say, well, why? Isn't health and beauty important? Here's the thing. Wisdom is multifaceted. Wisdom works across everything in your lifestyle. Everything, wisdom comes into play. It moves throughout everything. So I'm looking to improve my overall wisdom because it'll help me in various different things. Because even if I may lack as much in a particular area, because like the scriptures deal with, man, of making of many books, there's no end. In much studies, the weariness of the flesh. There's only so much you can learn about anything and everything. So you have to pick and choose your battles in terms of what will I focus my attention on. And then seeing, okay, even within that, did I learn enough to be able to have a conversation about these things and be able to hold my own in that regard, and enough to where, okay, I see how my lifestyle to apply this. But okay, I've gone far enough with that. Now let me switch. I need to learn more of this and more of this, more of these things. And understanding generally, okay, how to deal with life and life's issues and how to decide different things, ins and outs, how different things work. So, hey, I ain't no rocket scientist, but I do understand these things are needed to make this possible. So it's multifaceted, and that's a big thing that he's saying, like, man,
I'm trying to learn how to be more so universal, well-rounded, balanced than to focus on just mastering this area here. Instead, let me just master wisdom as a whole, and then for those things, one with wisdom knows I can go to a specialist for that. So, and I have enough wisdom to filter out, okay, this person asks the right questions, not just a few questions, but asking the right questions to help filter out, okay, this person seems like they're knowledgeable enough to go further than what I can in that area. So I'll see them for that. And you understand, a good leader, I don't have to know everything. I just have to learn enough and surround myself with people who specialize in various things, so then they become the forerunner for that. So that's how businesses work. CEO doesn't try to work to all right, I got to run every office. Nah, I put the right people in those positions and look to see, okay, hey, yeah, this is person who, all right, I put here and put there to make sure these things are running smoothly. No different than if you see leaders on a team, whether it be like, oftentimes you see it played out no matter in animated shows, video games, certain TV shows or movies. There's always a leader. The leader doesn't have to be like, you see in conversations and things where people play different roles on the team. Everybody ain't the Hulk. So, and a leader understands, like Avengers, Captain America, he ain't the strongest. He ain't the fastest. He isn't even necessarily the smartest. So, but yet and still, he understands how to delegate, how to, be a compassionate leader, empathetic leader, and understanding the things that help keep a team together. So he understands those things and how to motivate the team. He understands that. So he's fit to be the leader for those reasons, and there's different attributes that come with being a leader of leaders, because that's what he was. He was a leader of leaders. So the Avengers was a team of top dogs, top leaders, but he was the leader of the leaders. So, and that's the same like even what a bishop is. A bishop is a leader of leaders, because apostles are leaders, and a bishop just an apostle with, hey, I'm the head apostle. I'm apostle with oversight. So that my job is bigger than just these duties. I have also these duties on top of it. So that's important. And then even if you have bishop, you may still have an archbishop over them. So, and that's what Christ was training the apostles to become. He was training his disciples to become apostles. Apostles become bishops after, his death, that you guys will take this over and lead. And then Peter, I want you to be that archbishop. I want you to be the leader of these leaders. So, and you guys make these things work. You need that. So now, that's what it means, verse 10. I loved her above health and beauty. I love wisdom takes priority, because it's going to guide everything else that's bigger than just those areas of my life. So, and chose to have her instead of light. Now, what does it mean and chose to have her instead of light? That's not making reference into it instead of the law, because we know the law is light, because through wisdom is dealing with the law. But rather, this is making reference to, even in terms of when we think of light, we're thinking of sunlight in this context. So that even in terms of, like, you ever see those movies and TV shows where someone, they've been so long or studying something so long, like, man, you even know what day it is? Like, open your blinds. Like, like, man, even before I'm trying to look outside and see certain things or go out the house, man, sometimes I'm trying to get an understanding of certain things. I'm deep in my studies of certain things because I'm trying to grow, so I'm losing track of time because I'm so immersed in some of the studies and things I'm trying to learn and get ahead in. So, I'm that's what it's dealing with in terms of to have her instead of light. That's what it's dealing with. Because it says, for the light that cometh from her never goeth out. Because I know that sun going if it's a cloudy day, it ain't gonna shine as through. It's gonna be gloomy. It's gonna be kind of dark outside, and then guess what? Eventually, that sun gonna set. Where wisdom, it's always gonna be there. It don't matter, rain or shine, wisdom is there. So it's always gonna be there to guide and direct, no matter what the situation is. And that's what I need. I need to be able, no matter what's going on, to be successful, and wisdom will help me do that. So you can close them curtains back, and I don't need that sunlight right now. So this candlelight is doing me just fine. So I need to focus on this. So it's fine, and that's why he always gives. That's why he said in Ecclesiastes, much study is a weariness of the flesh. So you have to understand there's limits with gathering of information, dissecting it, and getting an understanding. There's limits, even healthy limits. That now I got to make sure I need to brush my teeth. Now I got to make sure I eat. Now I got to make sure I spend time with my spouse. Now I got to make sure I spend time with my kids. Now I still have to make time for these other things as well. So, in wisdom. Otherwise, those things will begin to fall apart. So now, verse 11. All good things together came to me with her, and innumerable riches in her hands. So it's like, the key to my success wasn't me chasing any of these other things first. It wasn't because I was chasing health, chasing beauty, or chasing the bag. It was because I chased wisdom, and wisdom allowed me to put myself in a place to where then I can accomplish these other things. The bag came when I focused on wisdom. Those things came about after. So, but I focused on this first. And that wisdom is coinciding with, first and foremost, righteousness, and then understanding like the various things that we're reading. Solomon made it a goal, along with David, to write works of wisdom to help us understand what made them successful in the various aspects of their life, and also the things that were part of their downfall made them unsuccessful at times. Because as wise as they were and as righteous as they were, they also had their shortcomings in the various things that also led to their downfall in various ways. And that's part also why Solomon's saying that, man, I'm a man just like you. I make mistakes just like you. You're gonna make mistakes in life. There's no way to omit mistakes. You can diminish them, but you cannot omit them. You can't just delete mistakes out of your life. It's part of the process of growth. It's part of the process. Even though just as much as in order to get stronger, you got to get weaker. So, and a lot of times your mistakes is what aids you into being a better version of yourself. But then it's also knowing and having wisdom that some mistakes are extremely hard to dang near impossible to come back from. Just depends on the type of mistake. And certain things and even them little things can start to add up to where now it's a big thing. So there's a balance with those things as well. So let's continue. Verse 12. And I rejoiced in them all, because wisdom goeth before them. And I knew not that she was the mother of them. Again, dealing with wisdom being likened unto that woman, as I dealt with earlier, that mother. Why? Because in all of these things, wisdom is the key thing that is going to be there, just like a mother, to nurture. So, to nurture these things. Because, even in food, you might be able to establish something, but it needs to be nurtured. So, and wisdom is still going to be needed to nurture those things, to make sure that they're healthy and that they're thriving and that they're surviving and that they're maintaining their right balance. Because if things go too far to the left or to the right, it can be imbalanced. And now the very things that I was doing, even let's say back with health and beauty, the very things I was doing to try to improve my beauty or my health can now be destroying my beauty or destroying my health in the mid to long run. So I need wisdom to make sure I'm doing these things with the proper balance, making sure I'm using the right makeups in the right amount, so that way I'm not taking away from my beauty or health, to where now, because of what I'm applying to my skin, it's breaking my skin out more. That is causing me to use more of the applicator and more of the makeup to try to make up for what it is that I'm losing behind the scenes. Like, dang, like I'm getting more bags, I'm getting more wrinkles, so on and so forth. So now I have to learn, okay, I got to research some of these chemicals and the things that's in it before I start applying it, or applying a lot of it, or realizing that, yeah, okay, I need to cut back some. This is too much. So it's same with some things in my health. As much as I'm trying to research some of these supplements and things to take, I need to get my blood work done to see, does my body even require these things? Or if me taking these things is now putting me in a surplus that is now hurting something else. That, yeah, my muscles is growing, but at the cost of my liver being destroyed or my kidneys being destroyed through this process. So my body's getting too much, or now it's causing my blood pressure to go higher because I'm receiving too much of these nutrients, and my body is having a hard time filtering it out. So now it's causing these ailments within my body, because the body was made to be within balance. Most High made everything be within balance, not to be in a place where it's over on one side or the other in a way that is too bad, because even the scriptures tell you, be not overly righteous and be not overly wicked. And the scriptures give you that guidance. Why? Because if you're overly wicked, you can go too far to where now the Most High got to take you out and put you to death, or now there's a way you can't come back from that. So, or in a place where I'm overly righteous, I start thinking, well, what about this? And I start adding to the scriptures and creating things that aren't there, and now making my life or someone else's that much more harder or more difficult. So you got to balance it out. But that's our time. So Most High willing, we'll pick things back up. We'll read Wisdom of Solomon chapter 7, verse 12 again. Okay. So we'll pick things back up there, because that's the last scripture we left off in, and we'll focus be 13, but we'll read 12 again, Most High permit. And my name is Brother Yatab, so Bishop of Sound Faith Ministries, and I pray you guys receive some understanding and enlightenment with the reading of this chapter, and Most High permit. Pray you continue in this series. Please like, share, and subscribe so others may learn and grow just as you are, okay? So with that, I say